Hey, Gearslutz, here's something we've been hearing a lot about. I actually got to see a very early version of this in October 2014 when I visited Arturia in France for their 15th anniversary of the company. And this was in a very early prototype stage. It is now NAMM 2060, and we've had the arrival of the Matrix Brute, so named because of the huge modulation matrix right on the front. It is a monster of a synthesizer that Sebastian is going to demo for us and tell us more about.
So hi, Sebastian from Arturia. The Matrix Brute. It's a huge analog synthesizer that we designed based on some of the ideas of the Mini Brute and Micro Brute, which we expanded in every single way. If we look at the front panel, we have three VCOs, two big analog oscillators that resemble the Mini Brute oscillator with multiple waveforms that you can mix together, each one with its own wave shaping. So sub-oscillator with some soft clipping, sawtooth with the super saw, square wave with the pulse width modulation, triangle has the metalizer wave folder. So two identical oscillator, a third one which is more basic, just simple waveform selection. A noise source with different noise colors like white, pink, red and blue source. All of these can be mixed together in this mixer. So with volume for the three oscillator, the noise source and the external input. And for each one you can select how you route it to the different. We have two filters, one Steiner Parker and one ladder filter. So for each of the source you can select if you want none, one, the other, or of both filter. Yeah, they both have different sounds, and you can combine them together either in parallel or in series. The two filters have 12 and 24 dB slopes. For the Steiner we have low pass, band pass, high pass and notch. For the ladder filter we have low pass, high pass and band pass. Each one has a drive amount for the input, cutoff frequency, resonance, envelope amount and then output volume. So that's for the analog voice. One thing I didn't mention is the audio modulation here. We have FM modulation. VCO1 can modulate. Yeah, VCO1 can modulate the frequency of VCO2. VCO3 can modulate either VCO1 or VCO2. It's centered. Same thing with the two filters, and the noise can be a modulation source for the oscillator and the filter. Synchronization of VCO2 to VCO1. So you have oscillator, classic oscillator sync sound. Then we have modulations, lots of modulations, three envelopes here, two ADSR envelopes. These two are ADSR envelopes connected to the filter and the VCA. Third one is can be connected to anything. Actually, the three envelopes can be connected to anything, but you have default routing to the VCA and VCF with the first two envelopes. We have two LFOs, each with 7 waveforms. Retrig modes, either free cycling or it can be retriggered with every note. Rate can be synchronized to the sequencer and to the MIDI input. So this is for the voice, and we have this big matrix as you mentioned. It has multiple modes. Right now I'm in modulation mode, which means that I can connect some of these sources that we see here as rows, like envelopes, LFOs, aftertouch, velocity, and connect them to the parameters of the synthesizer. So if I want to connect, for instance, LFO2 to, I don't know, the cutoff frequency of the Steiner Parker, I'll just activate this connection here and set an amount, either positive or negative amount, with that big knob right here. So you can really be creative with modulation because everything is in front of you and can be connected very easily. We have 4.
Yeah, I mean that is unreal. It reminds me of very much of the pin matrix on a VCS3.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. The big difference is that
no pins get lost.
Yeah, the pins get lost, and here you have continuous control of the modulation amount, so it's more flexible. You also have these 4 columns which can be freely assigned to any parameter of the synthesizer by just pressing this button and like turning a knob or moving a slider, and now I can control the decay time of my envelope too with anything I connect to this column. So I can have, I don't know, a macro knob, velocity and LFO2 connected to the decay time. So you can really get crazy with modulation. We also
It's also a sequencer, right?
It also a sequencer. Let me activate the sequencer. Very basic. Basic. It's a 64-step sequencer. You can set the length of the sequence. You can limit it to only 4 steps, for instance. For each of the steps, I can have nodes activate or deactivate the steps. I can also add some accent, which will change the velocity. I can have a slide between the nodes so that the pitch will slide from one node to the other. And modulation, this big knob right here can also be modulated in real time with the sequencer so that you have another parameter to modulate. It will be a source of modulation in the matrix, so you can connect it to anything you want, multiple destinations, for instance. The third mode of the matrix is preset, so you only have one at a time, and it's the presets you selected. Then moving on to the right side, we have analog effects. Fully analog effects, stereo and mono delay, chorus, flanger, and reverberator mode with 4 controls each time: delay time, regeneration, the tone, filtering, and the depth. The output is stereo because the effects can be spread, and a dry wet control, of course. Then this big section here is for the sequencer control. You can select the tempo, control the tempo. You have dotted, triplet, or quarter notes, different speeds, forward, reverse modes. These can also control the arpeggiator. There's an arpeggiator with like up, down modes for the arpeggiator.